Back in December, while browsing Netflix for something to watch, my partner and I came across Howl's Moving Castle, which is a Ghibli film I'm sure most of you are very familiar with. We became obsessed. I fell in love with the movie, and all of a sudden I had an idea to do a historically appropriate version of the outfits of the two main characters, Howl and Sophie. If you've been following along with my Elizabeth project, you'll see that I'm already making a blue dress. So for budgeting, for time, and because I will already have a beautiful blue Regency dress, I'll be repurposing that for Sophie. And I'll be doing a few accessories to go along with it, which you'll see later in this video. That will kind of take it out of the historically accurate Elizabeth Simcoe and into the whimsical world of Sophie Hatter. For her hair, I wanted to try a style that I've seen on a few other historical costumers and in fashion plates, but have never done myself, and that is the hair wrap. So I used that same silky fabric that I attempted to make a cap out of in the accessories video of my Elizabeth project, and it worked perfectly for this one. So the fabric has been redeemed. I cut out a long strip and I finished the edges with the roller foot. So the earlier clip was my first attempt and it was way too thin. It looked terrible, but again, it was good that I did it and practiced and was able to sew the fabric and get a feel for it. Struggling a little bit to get the fabric underneath the roller foot, but it really helps to save a lot of time instead of trying to do a whole length of fabric. I don't even know how long it is, but it's very long to try and do it all by hand. It's a really clean finish, which I can appreciate. So after having done both sides, I did the short sides by machine without the roller foot, and I love the finish. Sophie's original costume has a really frilly neck, and I wanted to use the second chemisette pattern from the American Duchess Guide to 18th Century Dressmaking for the ruffled chemisette for this look. I thought about doing one of the ruffled collared chemisettes, but I wasn't entirely sure how good it was going to look on me, so I opted for a style, the V-neck style in this pattern, that I thought would be a little bit more flattering. It came together a lot quicker and a lot easier than the collared chemisette, which isn't something that I was expecting, and I also did this one entirely by hand, reinforcing only a few seams with the machine because just personally I wasn't confident in the job that I had done. Of course, I did eventually trim all of those flyaway threads. And when it came to attaching the ruffles to the chemisette, I actually really enjoyed this process, although I did get a bit confused by the instructions in the book. I did a self-rolled hem for the outer edge of the ruffle, and then I did a new-to-be technique for the actual ruffling and attaching, as explained in the manuals. So I really enjoyed this process, and here's a little sneak peek. And last but not least, I used some other costume items that I already had to complete the, quote, old Sophie look. When she first goes out on her adventure in the waste, she wears a straw bonnet with red trimming and a red shawl. So I took my most Regency appropriate accessories to get that look for the final cinematic reveal. And I also had this little basket with a Burnley and Trowbridge scarf on top to hold her lunch as we see her snacking on in the wastes. So there you have it, a quick rundown of my historical Sophie Hatter cosplay. Part 2 is coming out shortly where I break down what I made for Howl.